Hi, my name is Jake, and I'm 25 years old. I live in a small town with my Aunt Sarah, who has always been more like an older sister to me. Ever since my parents got busy with their work, Sarah stepped in to help take care of me. We share a cozy little house filled with memories and laughter, and she's been my rock through everything. Today I want to share a story that's close to my heart. It all started on an ordinary afternoon when everything changed between us. It was a sunny Saturday, and I was sleeping in my room and liked to sleep with no clothes on, so I was sleeping, and I forgot to lock my door. I heard a soft knock at my door. It creaked open, revealing Sarah with a warm smile on her face. She looked radiant, wearing a casual tank top and shorts that accentuated her figure, her long hair cascading down her back. "Hey there, sleepyhead," she said, stepping into my room. I was sleeping naked, and there was nothing on my body because it was a hot summer day, so it was so hot in my room. She saw me naked, and I quickly tried to put some clothes on, but it was too late. She said, "Oh, sorry, I wasn't expecting this." No, it's not your fault. I forgot to open the door." I also felt ashamed, and I replied, trying to hide the excitement that bubbled up inside me at the of her. "I was just making some lunch." "I thought you might want to join me," she said, leaning against the door frame, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Or are you too busy?" I chuckled, sitting up. "No way. I could eat?" "Great. Let's eat outside." "It's a beautiful day," she suggested, her enthusiasm infectious. I nodded, and we headed to the small patio in our backyard. As we sat on the patio, I watched her move gracefully, setting up our meal. There was something about her that made my heart race, a blend of admiration and an inexplicable pull. We ate and talked, sharing stories and laughter. Sarah had a way of making everything feel light and fun, and I couldn't help but notice the little things about her. The way she laughed, the way her eyes sparkled in the sunlight. "Do you ever think about what it would be like to go away for college?" she asked, breaking me out of my reverie. "Sometimes it feels exciting and scary at the same time," I admitted, my mind wandering to all the possibilities. "I get that. It's a big step," she said, her tone softening. "But I know you'll do great things, Jake." Her words sent a rush of warmth through me, and I felt a sudden urge to reach out and hold her hand to let her know just how much she meant to me. But I hesitated, unsure if it was appropriate. After lunch, we cleared the table, and Sarah suggested we play a game. "Let's do something fun." "How about a little game of catch?" she said, her eyes sparkling. "Sure," I replied, excitement bubbling inside me. We moved to the open space in the yard, and I tossed the ball to her. As we played, the atmosphere shifted, our laughter filled the air, but there was an undercurrent of something deeper, a connection that pulsed between us. Every time she caught the ball, our hands brushed together, sending electricity through me. "I'm glad you liked the initial draft. Let's extend the story with more romantic scenes, including touching and seductive moments to deepen the connection between Jake and Sarah." Here's a more detailed version of their story. My name is Jake, and I'm 18 years old. I live in a small town with my Aunt Sarah, who has always been more like an older sister to me. Ever since my parents got busy with their work, Sarah stepped in to help take care of me. We share a cozy little house filled with memories and laughter, and she's been my rock through everything. Today I want to share a story that's close to my heart. It all started on an ordinary afternoon when everything changed between us. It was a sunny Saturday, and I found myself sprawled out on my bed, scrolling through my phone. The world outside was vibrant, filled with the sounds of birds chirping and children playing, but I was content in my little bubble. I could hear Sarah bustling around the kitchen, the aroma of something delicious wafting through the house. Just as I was about to drift off, I heard a soft knock at my door. It creaked open, revealing Sarah with a warm smile on her face. She looked radiant, wearing a casual tank top and shorts that accentuated her figure, her long hair cascading down her back. "Hey there, sleepyhead," she said, stepping into my room. "What are you up to?" "Not much, just scrolling." "What about you?" I replied, trying to hide the excitement that bubbled up inside me at the sight of her. "I was just making some lunch." "I thought you might want to join me," she said, leaning against the door frame, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Or are you too busy?" I chuckled, sitting up. "No way." "I could eat?" "Great. Let's eat outside." "It's a beautiful day," she suggested, her enthusiasm infectious. I nodded, and we headed to the small patio in our backyard. As we sat on the patio, I watched her move gracefully, setting up our meal. There was something about her that made my heart race, a blend of admiration and an inexplicable pull. We ate and talked, sharing stories and laughter. Sarah had a way of making everything feel light and fun, and I couldn't help but notice the little things about her. The way she laughed, the way her eyes sparkled in the sunlight. "Do you ever think about what it would be like to go away for college?" she asked, breaking me out of my reverie. "Sometimes it feels exciting and scary at the same time," I admitted, my mind wandering to all the possibilities. "I get that. It's a big step," she said, her tone softening. "But I know you'll do great things, Jake." Her words sent a rush of warmth through me, and I felt a sudden urge to reach out and hold her hand to let her know just how much she meant to me. But I hesitated, unsure if it was appropriate. After lunch, we cleared the table, and Sarah suggested we play a game. "Let's do something fun." "How about a little game of catch?" she said, her eyes sparkling. "Sure," I replied, excitement bubbling inside me. We moved to the open space in the yard, and I tossed the ball to her. As we played, the atmosphere shifted, our laughter filled the air, but there was an undercurrent of something deeper, a connection that pulsed between us. Every time she caught the ball, our hands brushed together, sending electricity through me. After a while, we both collapsed onto the grass, breathless and laughing. I turned to look at her, and in that moment our eyes locked. The world around us faded, and I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. "Jake," she said softly, breaking the spell. "You know you can always talk to me about anything, right?" "Yeah, I know," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. "It's just sometimes I feel like there's more to say than just words." Her gaze intensified, and I could see a flicker of understanding in her eyes. "What do you mean?" she asked, leaning in closer. "I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I feel like we have this connection." I confessed, my heart racing. "Jake, I feel it too," she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. "There's something special between us." My heart skipped a beat. "So what do we do about it?" I asked, my breath hitching. Sarah looked at me, her eyes searching mine. "I don't know, but I want to explore it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Without another word, she leaned in, her lips brushing against mine. It was soft and tentative, a gentle exploration of what lay beneath our words. I felt a rush of heat flood my cheeks as I deepened the kiss, pulling her closer. The world around us faded into nothingness. All that mattered was the warmth of her body next to mine, the taste of her lips, and the way my heart soared with each passing second. After that moment, everything changed between us. I couldn't stop thinking about the kiss, the way it ignited something inside me. Each time Sarah and I were together, the tension crackled in the air, filled with unspoken words and lingering glances. One evening, while watching a movie in the living room, I felt an electric charge between us. Sarah sat close, her shoulder brushing against mine. I could smell her sweet perfume, and it set my mind racing. As the movie played on, I stole glances at her, noticing how beautiful she looked in the soft glow of the screen. "Jake," she whispered, leaning in closer, "what if we turned off the movie and just talked?" "Sure," I said, my heart pounding. What do you want to talk about? I don't know us, she suggested, her cheeks flushing slightly. Okay, I said, a mix of excitement and nervousness bubbling inside me. She shifted to face me, her eyes searching mine. I can't stop thinking about that kiss. Me neither, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. In that moment, the distance between us disappeared. I reached out, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, and she leaned into my touch, her breath hitching. The atmosphere felt charged, filled with anticipation. I moved closer, our lips inches apart. Can I kiss you again? I asked, my heart racing. Yes, she breathed, her eyes wide with desire. I closed the gap, our lips meeting again in a slow, tender kiss. This time it felt different, more urgent, more passionate. I wrapped my arms around her waist, pulling her closer as I deepened the kiss. She responded eagerly, her fingers tangling in my hair, and I felt a surge of desire wash over me that as the kiss deepened, I felt her body pressing against mine, and I could feel the warmth radiating from her. I gently pulled away, our breaths mingling in the space between us. Wow, I murmured, my heart racing. Wow, indeed, she replied, her cheeks flushed. Do you think we should take this further? I asked, my voice filled with hope. I want to, she said, her gaze steady. But let's take our time. I want this to be special. I nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Definitely. I want it to be special too. The next few days were a whirlwind of emotions as we navigated this new territory together. We found ourselves stealing kisses in the kitchen, our lips brushing together when no one was watching. Each stolen moment felt exhilarating, filled with the thrill of our secret connection. One afternoon, while I was working on my homework, Sarah walked into my room, a mischievous smile on her face. Hey, mind if I join you? She asked, sitting on the edge of my bed. Of course not, I replied, my heart racing as she leaned closer. As we studied, I felt her leg brush against mine, sending shivers down my spine. I glanced at her, and she caught my eye, a knowing smile playing on her lips. Jake, she said softly, her voice low, do you remember that day in the backyard? Yeah, I replied, my heart racing at the memory of our kiss. I've been thinking about it a lot, she confessed, her cheeks turning pink. I want to feel that again. I set my homework aside, my heart pounding with excitement. I want that too. Without another word, I leaned in, capturing her lips in another passionate kiss. This time it felt more heated, filled with pent-up desire. My hands found their way to her waist, pulling her closer as she melted into me. Her hands traveled up to my neck, deepening the kiss as we lost ourselves in each other. Time seemed to stand still, and all that mattered was the way we fit together, the way our bodies responded to each other's touch. After what felt like an eternity, we pulled away, both breathless. I looked into her eyes, seeing the same mix of excitement and apprehension reflected back at me. Wow, she breathed, her lips slightly swollen from our kisses. Yeah, wow, I echoed, feeling a rush of adrenaline. I didn't know it could feel like that, she admitted, a shy smile on her face. Me neither, I replied, my heart racing. As the days passed, our secret relationship blossomed into something more intense. We spent more time together, each moment filled with stolen kisses and lingering touches. Our connection grew deeper, and with every shared glance, I felt like we were both on the brink of something extraordinary. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow through the windows, I found Sarah in the living room, lounging on the couch with a book in hand. She looked effortlessly beautiful, her hair cascading over her shoulders, and I felt an overwhelming urge to be close to her. Hey, I said softly, plopping down beside her. Hey, she replied, her smile brightening the room. What are you up to? Just wanted to see what you were reading, I said, leaning in closer to catch a glimpse of the pages. She turned the book around, and as our bodies brushed against each other, I felt the familiar spark between us. "It's a romance novel," she said, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Want to hear about it?" "Sure," I said, my interest piqued. "But I have a feeling it's not as exciting as what we have going on right now." Her laughter filled the air, light and infectious. "You might be right," she said, setting the book aside. "But it's fun to dream." With the tension building, I decided to take a leap. I reached out, gently taking her hand and intertwining our fingers. "Speaking of dreams, I've been dreaming about you a lot lately," I confessed, my heart racing. "Oh, really? What kind of dreams?" she asked, leaning closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "Let's just say they involve us in ways I never imagined," I replied, feeling bold. Sarah's cheeks flushed a deeper shade of pink, and I could see her excitement mirroring my own. "I like the sound of that," she said, biting her lip, a playful glint in her eyes. "Maybe we could create some of those dreams right now," I suggested, my pulse quickening at the thought. "Yeah. How do you envision that?" she asked, leaning even closer. I shifted on the couch, tilting my head slightly, capturing her gaze with mine. "I envision us getting lost in each other," I said softly, "kissing like there's no tomorrow." With that, I leaned in, closing the space between us, and our lips met in a heated kiss. It was like igniting a fire between us, passionate and consuming. I could feel the warmth radiating from her body, and I deepened the kiss, our lips moving in perfect harmony. That as the kiss deepened, I felt Sarah's fingers trail up my arms, sending shivers down my spine. I pulled her closer, feeling the heat of her body against mine. Her breath hitched, and I felt a rush of exhilaration at the power of our connection. "Jake," she murmured, breaking the kiss for a moment, her voice tinged with urgency. "I want this to be special. Let's take our time and explore what we have together." "Absolutely," I replied, nodding, a smile spreading across my face. "I wouldn't want it any other way." With that, we leaned into each other again, our kisses becoming more tender yet filled with a simmering heat. I could feel the world around us fade away, leaving only the two of us in our own little universe. That as the days turned into weeks, we grew bolder, our kisses turning from sweet pecks into passionate embraces. Every chance we got, we would sneak away into my room, where we could be alone, free from the world outside. One afternoon, Sarah suggested we watch a movie in my room. I was ecstatic, knowing this would give us the perfect opportunity to be close. As the credits rolled, I glanced at her, noticing how close we were sitting. The tension between us felt electric, and I knew it was only a matter of time before we crossed another line. "Want to keep watching?" I asked, trying to sound casual, though my heart raced with anticipation. "Actually," she said, her eyes sparkling with mischief, "I'd rather do something else." "What do you mean?" I asked, my curiosity piqued. "This," she said, leaning in and capturing my lips with hers again. It was a kiss that ignited a spark inside me, sending butterflies fluttering through my stomach. I responded immediately, my hands finding their way to her waist, pulling her closer as I deepened the kiss. We melted into each other, the kiss becoming more heated, more urgent. Her fingers danced along my neck, and I felt a thrill at her touch. I was lost in the moment, wrapped up in the warmth of her body, the sweetness of her lips, that as we pulled away breathless, I rested my forehead against hers, trying to gather my thoughts. "Wow," I breathed, my heart racing. "Wow, indeed," she replied, her cheeks flushed. "This feels so right." "It really does," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I've never felt like this before." "Neither have I," she admitted, biting her lip as she looked into my eyes. "There's something special between us, and I don't want to rush it. But I do want to explore it more." "Me too," I replied, feeling a rush of excitement. "Where do we go from here?" Sarah smiled, her eyes sparkling. "I think we should take it slow, but let ourselves feel everything. Let's create our own moments just like in those books I read." "Okay," I said, my heart swelling with joy. Let's make our own story. Over the following weeks, we continued to steal moments together. Quiet afternoons filled with whispered secrets and lingering kisses. Each encounter felt like an adventure, a new chapter in our story. One night, as the moonlight spilled into my room, casting a soft glow, I found Sarah sitting on my bed looking ethereal. She wore a loose t-shirt that hung off her shoulder, and I couldn't help but admire how beautiful she looked. "Hey," I said softly, moving to sit beside her. "Hey," she replied, her eyes glimmering in the dim light. "I was just thinking about us." "Me too," I said, my heart racing as I leaned in closer. "Can I ask you something?" she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Of course," I replied, my pulse quickening. "What are you really feeling about all this?" "About us?" she asked, searching my eyes. "I feel alive," I said honestly. "Like I've finally found someone who understands me. You make me feel things I've never felt before." She smiled, a soft blush creeping across her cheeks. "I feel the same way, Jake. It's like we were meant to find each other." Her words filled me with warmth, and I couldn't resist leaning in to kiss her again. This kiss felt different, deeper, more meaningful. I could feel the connection between us intensifying, a beautiful intertwining of our hearts that as our kisses grew more passionate, I felt my hands exploring her back, pulling her closer. Her body melted against mine, and I could feel the heat radiating from her. "Jake," she breathed against my lips, her voice filled with urgency. "I want to be close to you, really close." My heart raced at her words. "You mean?" "Yeah," she said, her cheeks flushed. "I want to feel you, to explore what we have." With her words hanging in the air, I knew we were crossing a line, but it felt so right. "Are you sure?" I asked, wanting to make sure she felt comfortable. "Yes," she whispered, her gaze steady. "I trust you." With that reassurance, I leaned in to kiss her again, feeling the warmth of her body against mine. As our kisses grew more heated, I slowly pulled her onto my lap, feeling her weight settle against me. I could feel her heartbeat racing as our lips moved together, and I knew we were venturing into uncharted territory. My hands found their way to her waist, gently exploring as I pressed my body against hers. The atmosphere in the room shifted, the air thick with anticipation. We were lost in our world where nothing else mattered but the connection we were forging. As our kisses became more intense, I felt a surge of passion coursing through me. "Jake," she murmured, breaking the kiss for a moment, her eyes filled with desire. "I want to feel more of you." I nodded, my breath hitching at her words. "Okay," I said softly, feeling both excited and nervous. With that, I pulled her closer, my hands roaming her back, feeling the softness of her skin beneath the fabric of her shirt. She shivered at my touch, and I felt a thrill run through me. I leaned in, kissing her neck, feeling her body arch against mine, inviting me in. "Sarah," I whispered, my voice filled with yearning. "You are incredible." "Jake," she breathed, her hands tangling in my hair. "I've never felt like this before. It's like everything just makes sense." Her words ignited a fire within me, and I kissed her again, pouring all my emotions into that kiss. The world outside faded away, leaving only the two of us, lost in a whirlwind of desire and connection. As the night wore on, we continued to explore each other, our kisses growing more passionate. I could feel the heat radiating between us, a palpable energy that drew us closer together. With each passing moment, we uncovered new layers of our connection, discovering the depths of our feelings and desires. The warmth of her embrace enveloped me, creating an oasis of intimacy where time stood still. As we shared soft kisses and gentle touches, I knew this was just the beginning of something beautiful. In that sacred space surrounded by whispers and heartbeats, we created a memory that would forever be etched in our hearts, a promise of love that transcended everything. Together we found a place where we belonged, where our souls danced freely, leaving behind the world outside and embracing the magic of our connection. And as I held her close, I realized that this moment would forever be a cherished part of our story, a beautiful beginning to a love that would only continue to blossom.